Welcome to my energy update. It is indeed Monday, which is energy update day. And what I love about today is it's pure synchronistic because Pluto goes out of retrograde in direct. Okay. Happy days for that. All about transformation direct, not retrograde. Okay. So now I'm really happy because this video, I've got so many layers to share with you. So many. First of all, can we please give some gratitude and some love and some acknowledgement to Nephthys? When I look back at it synchronistically, how intuitively she was brought into our space and she encouraged us, if not dragged us into actually seeing this through to the end. So the eclipse season was overseen by Nephthys, who took us to our deep, dark self. She's all about renewal, but you've got to go through the death process and the death walk to feel what you need to feel to transmute it. And that is not something you can heal your way through it. You have to actually be very inactive and just feel what you've got to feel. Can you have the bravery and the courage just to sit in your shit? And I think that that's where we all arrived at, because I don't know about you, I was too tired and exhausted to even think about sorting out healing sessions for myself. I just got to the point where I was just like, well, this is it then. That's complete surrender. So we have been dismantling the old self, witnessing the layers that we've been going through. And I've actually personally been quite shocked because I didn't think that I was in my head as much as I was. And I watched Marie watched Marie go through the layers of death. And I was like, wow. And I kind of got a front row seat to all of my craziness, actually. I still got a lot of crazy in me. But that's the endearing kind. But that was like cray. But yeah, I was actually quite shocked as to what had been, what foundations that I had been holding me up with. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what we let fall. We let fall those foundations and those structures that didn't support us. We thought they did, but they didn't. And let it fall, let it crumble, because the great reveal was basically seeing the structures that do support you. And that's the difference. That's the split. That's what we need to run with now, right? So I really, really want to thank Nephthys for walking us through that, even though it was deeply traumatic. And we're still going through it a little bit. Then she tentatively, lovingly handed us over to her sister, which is Isis. Now, this month is her astrology month as far as like the Egyptian astrology goes. So it makes sense. But also the full moon we've just been through was all about harvest and everything like that. And of course we went for the 1010 portal. That was an ass kicking of note. Didn't expect that one. Snuck in a little bit. Cheeky little thing. Came in and gave me a final boot to just get me over the edge. And I was just like, my God, I was just men down. I was like, right, thanks 1010 portal. You've just finished me off. And now moving through, like as we walk with Isis, she's showing us fertility. She's showing us rebirth, resurrection now. And there's like all of a sudden and completely aligned with Pluto. And there's no transformation without Sekhmet. Sekhmet has been around me. I know that she's been there, but this death walk, the intensity of the peak of the death walk I've just been through the last 3 months have been very next level. And all of my guides actually have been quite quiet, but I've known that they're there. All of my team have just gone, whoop, zip it. I've had enough of a conversation just to keep me going, but generally they've been very, very quiet. Sekhmet especially so. Today she came through like a freight train, chatting, talking, and explaining why she has been absent on the sidelines, not with me like I usually am with her. And I'm going to share with you in a minute why that is. But let's get into the practicalities of Pluto going direct. So May is when we kind of went into the retrograde. So let's just have a look at that. What were you doing in May? Can you relate to that? I know I can, because I've shared with you guys loads of times as to how many things, like how many deaths I went through, kids leaving, animals dying, suffered 2 burglaries during it as well. And it's just like, what the hell? Stripped away from where I should live, not knowing myself, like, you know, going through perimenopause, body's not my own. I was just like, okay, well, this is it then. This is it. This is dunzos. And that's the ultimate of surrender, right? When you just get hit and hit and hit. And it's quite interesting because God does love a trier. And I know God does love me, because they had to hit me so hard because I would not let go of these knuckles. They had to smack me, you know, and I was just like, you know what? It's going to take something really big for me to let go. And that, I kind of like, that was fulfilled 100%, you know? So that's when that inner work, that inward journey happened, right? In May. So now we come to, where are we? October the 13th. Okay. You may feel the intensity of it tomorrow, but I'm feeling it today. Pluto now goes direct. Now, who are the star signs that it hits most is Taurus. Okay, we have Scorpio. We have Aquarius. I'm Aquarius. Most of all Aquarius and Leo, because Leo's the opposite sign. Not to say that anybody else is going to be feeling it. Everybody's going to be feeling it. But I would definitely say that it's the Aquarians that have felt it the most. And yeah. But having said that, there's also an Aquarian frequency within each and every one of us. And what's the Aquarius energy all about? It's all about community. It's all about creating things, building things together, having a vision where it suits and benefits all. It's not just about the one person. You know, it's about ease and flow and grace. It's about being a visionary, innovative. It's all of the things, right? So in each and every one of you, if you're a conscious creator, which you are, you know, you're in touch with that alchemical power of creation and everything like that, which means we've all got Aquarius in us, because we're now moving officially into the Aquarian age. It's a bit of a slow burn for some of us, but some of us are going to be feeling it more outwardly, right? So let's talk about that outer world now. So as we go into Pluto direct, what does that actually mean? All of that death and dying that you have been doing, right? All of that inner work, which quite frankly, we were in it for so long and it was very, very deep. It's like, what the fuck is this for? I'm just more death. I've become a master at dying. And here we were all sat here thinking that this was the mission. And my especially Toth keeps saying to me, no, you haven't even started yet. This isn't the mission. This is just what was required to basically begin the mission. And what I've sensed and saw, because all of us, you know, you're my tribe, man. You're my tribe. You're my pride. We are all Sekhmet family here. And we connect in so many different ways, but we're tribe, okay? So what I'm saying to you is I know you're going to get. We're in construction, okay? I believe that us twin flames, because we all hold the twin flame frequency, but we're the front lines. We were the ones that were given the spades, look at the ground, dig the earth, you know what I mean? It's just like, what's the hardest part of building a house? It's building the foundations, right? Clearing the ground, moving trees out the way, whatever you've got to do, digging the earth. That's probably the most hardest part of actually, you know, that's going to require the most strength. And then the builders come in, then the plumbers and the electricians and that kind of thing. I keep seeing like me just wiping my brow, going, ooh, throwing my spade down and saying, right, over to you now. Roll in the next lot. You know what I mean? Because I'm done. And that's what I had through this death. I was like, I am so over now these massive, massive initiations, because my initiations are big. They are very, very powerful. God never sends me anything I can't handle. And I always handle it, even though at the time I'll be like, oh God, but I do it, right? And that is basically being a devotee of Sekhmet. It kind of comes with the territory. Now, in light of that, of course, I'm holding this group, which you're all invited to, the Sekhmet pilgrimage in May. And she keeps speaking to me now today. She was saying that, like, you know, so did you think you were going to hold a pilgrimage in my name and you weren't going to be put through some kind of massive initiation? I go through initiations anyway prior to every single tour that I hold, because it's part of being the space holder and holding such a space. But this one, I didn't even put two and two together. She was like, yeah, you're not just holding a group in Egypt. You're holding a group in Egypt in my name. And this is your final trial by fire. And I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. So we've paved the way. We are paving the way, you know, one brick at a time. That's what we're doing. But it is the final surge, the final purge, whichever way you want to look at it. So basically what's going on now with this whole deconstruction of the old self, you'll find yourself looking at certain situations, groups, communities. How are you showing up in the world? What drains you? Is it very apparent that you're doing a lot of things for other people's needs rather than your own? Do you really want to do that? Probably not. You're going to be very, very clear as like, did I actually vibe with that person? Not really, but why was I in it? It's like, you know, you're going to be questioning everything. But the foundations, which are going to be crumbling and falling, are ones that needed to, right? So it's really, really important that you now assess your life and go, right, what am I keeping? What do I want to keep, right? Because what holds me up, and this is what I'm talking about. Heal means facing your shadow in the fullness, having the courage to face your shadow and feel that pain, to be able to unlock it and unlock the gift within it. You know what I mean? That's, to me, is healing. So heal or healing is turning to face your shadow. Revealing, heal versus reveal, is as a result of doing that, because you realize the shadow is not your story, the great reveal happens. So in a way, that is looking at the wobbly foundations going, that's the healing part, right? Because you're going to look at these foundations, not be scared to say no. And now all of a sudden, everything you're saying yes to is the absolute bones, the solid bones of what you've been built on all along You know what I mean? That's what it is, you know, heal and reveal, right? So now that is what you're going to be looking at. That's what's going to be shown to you. Now, also in this mix, as Pluto goes direct, it's going to affect your perceptions. The only way that we can change our reality is by changing our belief systems. And I've been waiting for this because I've had such a fight in the past month in the head. I have my ADHD, and perimenopause also does it as well. But either way, just put it to a massive energy awakening, death awakening. Your mind, I've just realized that this is chatter, telling me all sorts of lies, and I've just had to sit there, even though I'm feeling it, can't get out of it, but I know it's not real. It's not happening. I'm sorry. You can go on as much as you want, and I'm just going to sit here until you shut up. And then eventually we're going to do something else. And that's kind of been the purgatory part of it. So now we're switching over. And now, like today, I'm starting to look at life a lot differently. There's different narrative going on in my head. It's gone from negative narrative to different conversation. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So this is kind of like going to be a result of something that just happens. It's not going to be something that you all have to work at or do. Because remember, that's where I've been stuck in this web. I've been doing, trying to do to survive, and basically make sure I'm safe. I've realized I've been doing that, and I've realized that's the very thing that is not going to basically take me to the new earth. Do you know what I mean? But I've had to just sit with it and observe it and allow it to die, right? So now I've spoken about who it affects: Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio. Not to forget that Aquarius is in each and every one of us, so we're all going to be feeling it. You know what I mean? So now Sekhmet speaks. I spoke about this right at the beginning of the video. Sekhmet speaks, right? I've just, you know, she's been around me. I felt her, but I've not been able to connect with her because I've had other things to take care of, which was my own physical health and this death, actually. I've had to be so present for this death that had I had guides talking to me, especially Sekhmet, had I unscrambled my mind, I would have dived into the conclusion and worked out, alchemically decoded this whole situation. And I would probably take the edge off my death, if that makes sense. So that's what's been told to me, that like if you've got brain fog and your brain's been scrambled, that's been done purposefully to make sure that you don't jump ahead. Because when we got brain fog and we're feeling a bit, you're not really good for anything, you don't want to do anything, and you definitely don't have much thought going on. So that's kind of like, in a way, to kind of try and keep us in this present space, even though it's not fully peaceful, but it's better than jumping ahead and just making this last for longer. Because if we keep deciphering and going, oh, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, and speaking to guys and having answers, then of course we're not going to feel what we need to feel in its fullest, because we're going to be pacified by spirit to say, don't worry, it's okay, da, 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 da. Makes you feel a bit happier, doesn't it? But that's not what this is about. You have to feel your pain. You have to go through that doorway. You can't push it to one side, because if you do, you've got to go and revisit it, and you're just going to prolong it, right? So now with Sekhmet, she stands back to witness the absolute transformation. So what happened today is she just burst into channel with me, and she basically said, it is a greatest mother's love and adoration when she can watch her child transform, watch her transformation transpire. And what she means by that is like, she got me to think about my own children. She said, do you always pick a child up? You know, sometimes you just got to let them fall. Sometimes you've got to let them fall because they know they're going to get up again. Sometimes you have to just let them figure it out. And then when they figured it out, that's giving power to your child. It's like, yes, you see, you did that. I didn't do it because Sekhmet was talking in my ear going, you're going to be fine, girl, because we're going to do this, that, and the other. She sat back and she said, right, okay, now let's put it into practice. You're now going to go through the flames. You're now going to die, and you're not going to have any guidance from anyone except your higher self and your human aspects. And it's basically a mother's love that does that. And that's what she said to me today. She said, yes, well, I've been so quiet because now you stand on your own 2 feet. You have embodied the aspects of Sekhmet. Because without that, I'm going to be constantly curling at her feet saying, mother, help me, support me. No, it was an empowering thing. Sit back. You got this, girl. I have. And I'm going to do another video on the embodiment. Are you living it, or are you worshipping it? Meaning the embodiment process of these gods and goddesses is why they've gone so quiet. So now basically it's not so much them talking to you because we're sat in channel and we're having a conversation and all that guidance is coming through. They are you. So it's you that speaks. So looking for someone else is diminishing your power, right? Sorry. Ta-ding. That's a bells in a celebration. So yeah, I don't even know whether you actually heard that on my computer, but I had a big bell ring on my computer then, and it was almost like, like the clicking fingers. So even my computer agrees with me. Yay. But that might be something you're experiencing, because like this is all brand new. Like that's what life's going to look like now, more embodied. That was back then. We weren't as empowered as we were. We needed to channel spirit. We needed to reach out to them. We needed their guidance. But what happens is when you know stuff. What happens when you're embodied and your inner authority is there? What happens when you're sovereign? You just know that you're spirit. You know you're Sekhmet. You know you're Isis. You know you're Osiris. You're all of it. So why reach out of yourself to go and ask for an answer? Because you already have it. Because you are it. You are the answer, right? So I'm going to talk more about this, because I believe this is the tentative bridge steps that we're taking into this new world and new body that we're living in, right? So watch this space. So now the mission starts now. Mission starts now. Why have you come? So it wasn't for the pain. It wasn't for all of that drama and darkness and all of the rest of it we've just been through. It starts now. So I keep thinking, oh my God, is this why I came? And Toth keeps speaking to me and saying, absolutely not. You now, through this Pluto going direct, you're going to know in no uncertain terms that you're going to get very, very clear clarity. Oh, this is why I came. This is why I came. And this is what you're going to start showing up differently. For those that have been out there, like I have, I'm starting to show up differently. I'm looking at things going, okay, this is changing. My foundations are clear now. The great reveal. That's the way I'm going. For those of you that haven't shown up, that want to show up, but you've been stuck in your fear of being seen, totally get it. Like now it's going to be like, right, off you go. You're going to go and do that thing. So we're all at this precipice of like, shit, all right. Let's go. And this is why I've been talking a lot about the Heka Code. So the Heka Codes is alchemy activation. Intention plus action equals creation, right? What I love about the Heka Codes is they are templates, powerful portals that we ignite within ourselves. And we can actually put any consciousness in that template and we can activate it. So basically, when we work with intention, right, we can actually pull intention through Isis. You can pull intention through any god or goddess that you're working with. You can pull intention through your higher self. Then you move into the action phase, which is like, okay, so you have the idea. Where are you going to go to now? So now you've kind of gone through transformation of Pluto, right? What am I going to do now? Okay, well, I want to go and do that thing. Okay, so you've got the idea. Brilliant. That's the intention. So now how do I land it? Which steps do I take first? I want to step out of this world and I want it to go into a new one. This is now the second stage of Heka. This is when the action ignites. And then once you get those two together, which is essentially divine feminine and divine masculine in balance, they activate. And when they activate, they create something else, a third thing, which is the Heka, which is creation, right? And that creation is your manifestation, right? So this is a call to action. The Sekhmet sessions that I offer are on that template. Oh, look at that. Yay! God, I'm getting all the signs today. The Sekhmet sessions, we have the Heka Code sessions, which is a 3-stage mentorship, and the single sessions. But ultimately, the biggest transformative deep dive into this is the Sekhmet pilgrimage in May, because she's called a certain bunch of tribe members forward, right? You have specific codes and frequency within you. And if I'm saying these words now, you'll feel a flutter. That it's you, right? She's chosen you already. I am just to receive you. And there is big things we're going to be doing next year because it's a 1 year, right? So it's a reset. It's the beginning. So my work now changes completely. It's not just a let's get together and bang a drum and kumbaya. It has a lot more power and alchemy sacredness as to what we're doing next year. And it's going to be ease and grace. Remember that year is the new earth. Everything's going to change. So now walking between two worlds. Yeah. I mean, that's it, really. That's where we are right now. And we're going to keep moving into the new world. So you might find yourself oscillating between the old and oscillating between the new. It's a process. Allow the transformative energy of Pluto to lead you through. Allow the love and the blessings of rebirth and resurrection to be given to you through Isis and Osiris. On the dark times when you fall into it, call on Nephthys, who's going to hold you in those dark times and the uncomfortability, and she's going to reassure you that renewal is on its way. And as you do that, you embody these beings and you become more and more adept and more strong inside. And then what happens when you have that, you know what I mean? You start to create that divine balance. And then if you're in that divine balance, then you become that conscious creator and manifester. Things just start to unfold for you. So there's very little for you to do, but it's everywhere that you need to show up for now. Everywhere. So really engaging in the conversation with yourself, right? Why did I come? What am I here to do? What's your purpose? Why you came? How did you say you were going to show up? That's your mission. How did you say that you were going to build it? That's your skill sets. That's your alchemy. So you see, it's time for all of that to awaken. And you know what? Energy loves order. And that is what my work brings to people's experience. And Sekhmet, actually, because Sekhmet is all about the fiery powers of action. So if you're ready for that action, we got work to do, fam. Can you tell I'm full of beans? I've been so in the depths of my death walk. I'm really happy to just be alive today. Hey, long may it last. Long may it last. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will be speaking to you on the next video about